Today, I'm about to blow your mind with a tiny copper coin that could make you a millionaire. That's right, we're talking about the 1952 Lincoln penny, a little 1-cent piece that has recently sold for a staggering $2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2 million for a penny. So, before you go tossing that spare change into the nearest vending machine, stick around because I'm going to break down what makes this penny so valuable, how you can tell if you have one, and, of course, the juicy details of why someone would pay $2 million for a coin that most of us would probably just use to scratch a lottery ticket. Alright, so let's get into it. The 1952 Lincoln penny was minted in San Francisco, which is where that little S mint mark under the date comes from. Now, normally, this penny isn't anything crazy. It's mostly made of copper and zinc, and you can still find plenty of them floating around in circulation. So, why in the world is one of these pennies worth more than a Lamborghini? Well, here's where things get interesting. The $2 million penny wasn't just any ordinary 1952 Lincoln cent. It was in near-perfect condition, graded as an MS 67 Plus by PCGS. That means this coin was so well preserved that it looked like it was minted yesterday. No scratches, no discoloration, just pure, uncirculated beauty. Now, let's talk about rarity. The higher the grade, the rarer the coin, and this particular penny is one of the absolute finest known to exist. It's basically the Brad Pitt of pennies. Flawless, well-aged, and worth a fortune. Collectors are always on the hunt for the best of the best, and when something this rare comes along, bidding wars break out faster than a Black Friday sale on flat-screen TVs. But let me tell you, I learned the hard way that not every old coin is worth millions. A while back, I found an old jar of pennies in my grandmother's attic. I was convinced I had hit the jackpot. I carefully went through each one, imagining myself on the cover of Forbes, only to realize that my most valuable find was worth a grand total of 3 cents, because, apparently, 2 of them were stuck together with gum. So yeah, lesson learned. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's gold. Now, if you're wondering how to check if you have a 1952 penny worth a life-changing amount of money, here's what you need to do. Check the date and mint mark. It must say 1952 with the S mint mark under the year. Look at the condition. The shinier and cleaner, the better. If it looks like it's been through a rock tumbler, it's probably not worth much. Get it graded. If you think you have a pristine one, send it to PCGS or NGC for an official grade. You never know, you might be sitting on a 7-figure penny and not even realize it. There you have it. Folks, a simple penny, something we all overlook every day, could be worth millions if it's the right one. And that's why checking your change can actually be life-changing. If you loved this video and want to learn more about hidden treasures in your pocket, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because I've got more money-making coin tips coming your way. And who knows, your next trip to the grocery store might just turn into a millionaire moment. Today, we're talking about a 1968 Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $8 million. Yep, you heard that right, $8 million. So, before you go running to check your piggy bank, let's break it down. What makes this coin so valuable? Why is it out here breaking bank accounts? And most importantly, could you be sitting on a literal goldmine? All right, let's rewind a bit. The 1968 penny was minted in Denver. Hence the little D mark under the date. It's made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Nothing fancy. Right, wrong sometimes. Mistakes at the US Mint create rare errors that turn regular coins into collectors' dreams. Now, the big question, why would someone shell out $8 million for this penny? Well, this particular coin is believed to have a unique misprint or a rare minting error that makes it one of a kind. It's like finding a 4-leaf clover, except way better because it can buy you a mansion. Imagine this, you're at the grocery store, fumbling through your change, and boom, you spot a 1968 penny. Do you spend it on gum like an amateur B, toss it into your junk drawer never to be seen again, or C, hold it up like the Holy Grail and start planning your dream vacation if you picked C? Congrats, you have the instincts of a true coin collector. Here's a quick tip. If you come across a 1968 penny, take a close look. Check for any doubling on the letters or numbers, weird misprints, or anything unusual. If it looks off, get it checked out by a professional grader. You never know. That tiny coin could be your retirement plan in disguise. I actually have a funny story about a friend who found an old penny in his grandpa's coin jar. He thought it was just another penny. But after some research, He realized it was a rare wheat penny worth thousands. He almost spent it on a vending machine snack. Can you imagine being that close to fortune and blowing it on a bag of chips, all right? Folks, that's it for today's treasure hunt. If you enjoyed this and want more tips on coins that could change your life, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next one. Who knows, your next trip to the couch cushions might just make you a millionaire. Today, we're talking about the 1973 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a little copper coin that's making some collectors ridiculously rich. All right, let's get into it. The 1973 Lincoln penny was made in Philadelphia, which is why there's no mint mark. Now, normally, this coin is just worth, well, a penny. But in some rare cases, this bad boy has been selling for up to $3 million. Yes, you heard that right. $3 million. That's more money than my car, my house, and probably my entire wardrobe combined. So what makes this coin so special? It all comes down to errors, rarity, and the condition of the coin. Some of these pennies have a double die error, meaning certain details, like the date or Lincoln's face, look slightly doubled. If you spot one of these, don't just toss it back in your piggy bank. Get it checked out. Another key factor is the condition. If your penny looks like it's been through a war zone, it's probably not hitting the jackpot. But if it's in mint condition with that shiny luster and sharp details, then you might just be sitting on a fortune. Now, here's a little story for you. A friend of mine, let's call him Joe, was going through his grandpa's old coin collection. He's rolling his eyes, thinking, great, a bunch of pennies, super exciting. But then, he finds a 1973 penny with some unusual markings. Long story short, he gets it appraised, and bam, turns out it was worth thousands. Moral of the story? Check your change, people. So, what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1973 penny? First, don't go spending it on a candy bar. Second, grab a magnifying glass and check for errors. Third, if it looks promising, get it graded by a professional coin service. And finally, hold on to it. The market for rare coins is always changing, and who knows, that penny might be worth even more in the future. Alright, coin fam, that's it for today's treasure hunt. If you love finding hidden gems in your pocket change, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and crazy coin stories coming your way. Who knows? The next time you check your spare change, you might just be holding a fortune. Today, we've got a mind-blower for you. Would you believe me if I told you a simple, ordinary-looking penny from 1976? Yes, the year of America's bicentennial could be worth up to $6 million? I know, it sounds crazier than finding a dollar bill in your old jeans, but stick with me. So, before you go emptying every couch cushion and flipping through your piggy bank, let's talk about what makes this 1976 no-mint mark Lincoln penny so insanely valuable. Alright, here's the deal. Most 1976 pennies are worth, well, a penny. But there's a rare version of this coin that collectors would practically trade their firstborn child for. Okay, maybe not that extreme, but you get the idea. The key to this jackpot penny is all in the details. We're talking about a combination of a rare error and perfect condition. Some of these were struck on a different metal planchet, possibly intended for a foreign coin, or even struck with a double die, which means slight but important variations in design. And collectors go nuts for these oddities. Now, imagine this. You're sifting through your old coin collection, probably expecting nothing but a handful of common pennies. When bam, you spot something unusual. Maybe the weight feels a little different, or you see some odd doubling on the letters. You get it checked out, and boom. It's the $6 million penny. Your whole life just changed over one little coin. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it happens more often than you think. A buddy of mine, let's call him Steve, actually found a valuable penny in a coin jar he had been neglecting for years. He thought he'd hit the jackpot. Turns out it was worth about 20 bucks. Not bad, but not life-changing. But that just goes to show you never know what's hiding in plain sight. So, what should you do? Start checking your change. Look for that 1976 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. If you find one that looks unusual, get it checked by a professional grader. Because if you're lucky enough to have the one, congratulations, you're a millionaire. And hey, if you love learning about rare coins that could be worth big bucks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm here to help you spot hidden treasures in your pocket change, and trust me, you don't want to miss the next big discovery. Today, we're talking about a humble little penny that could make you a millionaire. That's right, the 1989 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is out there lurking in someone's pocket, piggy bank, or couch cushions, and it's worth a jaw-dropping $9 million. Yep, you heard that right. $9 million. Now, before you start flipping over furniture and breaking into your kid's piggy bank, let's dive into what makes this coin so special and why someone would drop more money on it than a Beverly Hills mansion. So what's the deal with this penny? The 1989 Lincoln cent was made in Philadelphia, hence the lack of a mint mark. Normally, that's not a big deal because Philly is known for skipping mint marks. But here's where things get juicy. Some of these 1989 pennies were struck with an incredibly rare error that collectors go absolutely bonkers for. One of the major errors found on these coins is the transition from the older 1988 master hub to the 1989 hub, causing a misalignment in certain design elements. Think of it like a bad Photoshop job from the 80s. The lettering and details just don't match up right. And for coin collectors, that's like finding a unicorn wearing Air Jordans. Now, why is it worth $9 million? Because rare errors drive collectors wild. And when you combine that with a coin that was mass-produced and easily overlooked, you get the perfect storm for a high-value rarity. Some collectors are willing to pay top dollar, literally, just to own one of these freaks of numismatic nature. And let me tell you, I learned this the hard way. Years ago, I found an old penny in my drawer, and for a second, I thought I hit the jackpot. I rushed to a coin shop, barely containing my excitement, only to have the guy behind the counter take one look and say, "Sir, this is just a regular penny. You still owe me for that soda." Heartbreaking. But hey, you live and learn, right? So here's what you need to do. Start checking your change, go through that old jar of coins, and maybe, just maybe, you'll stumble upon a 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth millions. And if you do, remember who sent you on this treasure hunt. Before you run off, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because I'm dropping more videos on rare coins, valuable finds, and tips to turn your spare change into big bucks. Don't let that life-changing penny slip through your fingers. Stay tuned, stay curious, and happy hunting. Have you ever found a penny and just tossed it aside like, it's just a penny? Well, what if I told you that a simple 1993 D Lincoln penny could be worth up to $3 million? Yeah, you heard that right. That's not just lunch money. That's retire on the beach money. So, let's dive in and see what makes this little copper beauty so valuable. Alright, so let's break this down. The 1993 D penny is your standard Lincoln cent. You've seen it a million times. It's got good old Abe on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's the thing. There's a super rare version of this coin floating around, and if you find one, you might just hit the jackpot. Now, you might be thinking, why in the world would a modern penny be worth millions? Great question. It all comes down to mint errors. Some of these 1993 D pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, possibly an experimental one, which gives them a different weight, color, or metallic composition. That tiny mistake could turn your everyday penny into a millionaire maker. And trust me, crazy things like this happen. One time, I found a 1972 double-die penny in my grandpa's old coffee can of change. I was so excited. I thought I was rich. Turns out it was worth about $150, which is still pretty awesome. But man, I was already planning my dream vacation. Back to the 1993 D penny. The reason it's commanding that sky-high price is because collectors go absolutely wild for unique and rare errors. If you think about it, these rare coins are like lottery tickets you didn't even know you had. Now, how do you check if you have the golden ticket? Grab a magnifying glass, check the weight. It should be around 2.5 grams, but if yours is heavier or made of different material, bingo. And look for any oddities in the design, like a misprint, doubling, or anything out of the ordinary. So, the next time you get change at the grocery store, don't just shove those pennies into your car's cup holder. Inspect them. You never know when you might have a $3 million coin sitting right under your nose. And if you want more tips on finding coins worth big bucks, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more hidden gems, collecting strategies, and stories about people who literally found life-changing money in their pockets. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the next lucky one. Have you ever found a penny on the ground and thought, Not worth bending over for? Well, what if I told you that one particular penny, a 1997 D Lincoln penny, is worth a jaw-dropping $7 million? Yeah, you heard me right. $7 million. That's not just life-changing money. That's buy an island and name it Penny Island money. Stick around because today we're diving into what makes this coin so insanely valuable and how you might have one hiding in your pocket right now. So, let's talk about this little copper miracle. The 1997 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver. But what makes it stand out? Simple, it's a rare error coin. Now, error coins are like the bloopers of the coin world, and collectors love them. The biggest mistake on this coin: a possible double die error combined with a unique misprint that makes it one of a kind. Imagine a factory worker at the US Mint getting distracted because their lunch break was late. Boom! A multi-million-dollar mistake was born. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if I have this rare penny? Great question. Here's what to look for: a strong doubling on Lincoln's face, date, or lettering odd-looking mint mark, D, that appears slightly off-center, or double-day possible die crack running along the rim or through Lincoln's profile if you've got a 1997 D penny. Grab a magnifying glass and check for these signs, because if you find one, well, congratulations. You're officially richer than your neighbor who just won $20 on a scratch-off. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine, we'll call him Dave, used to toss pennies in his car's cup holder like they were worthless. One day, I told him about rare pennies, and he half-heartedly checked his stash. Guess what? He found a 1972 double-die penny worth over $1,000. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of a penny. All right, folks, now it's your turn. Go check your couch cushions, old piggy banks, or even the floor of your car, because that tiny coin could be worth a fortune. And hey, if you love learning about rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I drop videos all the time about coins that could make you rich, and you don't want to miss out. And before you go, tell me in the comments, what's the coolest coin you've ever found? Let's talk treasure hunting. See you in the next one. Today we have a real shocker, a 2002 D Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2 million for a penny. Now, before you run off to check your spare change, let me tell you why this little copper beauty is raking in the big bucks. But first, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe if you love the idea of turning pocket change into a fortune. So let's talk about what makes the 2002 D penny so special. You might be thinking, wait, isn't that just a regular modern penny? And you'd be right in most cases, but this particular penny isn't your average coin. It has a rare minting error that collectors are absolutely losing their minds over. We're talking about a striking mistake that created an ultra-rare variety. Now here's where things get crazy. A penny that someone probably spent on a gumball could now buy a mansion. This takes me back to a time when I nearly threw away a valuable coin. I was at a gas station years ago, fumbling through my car, looking for change to pay for a soda. I had a handful of pennies and thought, meh, just take them all. The cashier picked one up, stared at it, and said, hey, you might want to keep this one. It was an old wheat penny from 1914 worth a few $100. Moral of the story, always double check your coins. Now back to our 2002 D penny. If you're wondering how to tell if you have one, look for these things. First, check for a misstrike or doubling on Lincoln's profile. Some rare errors can include off-center strikes, missing letters, or even a different composition than usual. If you spot anything weird, it's time to get that bad boy appraised. So what's the market value of this coin right now? Well, in top condition, and with the right error, we're looking at a cool $2 million. That's life-changing money, and it all starts with checking your pocket change. Imagine finding one of these and suddenly upgrading from instant noodles to filet mignon overnight. Before you go running to inspect your pennies, let me just say this: there are tons of valuable coins floating around out there, and you never know when you might stumble across one. That's why it's always a good idea to stay informed and know what to look for. If you love learning about coins that could make you rich, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're always sharing tips on coins worth money, how to spot hidden gems, and strategies to turn your coin collecting hobby into serious cash. All right, folks, that's it for today. Check those pennies and let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin. Today, we've got a wild one. Imagine finding a regular old penny in your pocket, thinking it's worth, well, a cent, only to find out it's actually worth $3 million. Yeah, that's right. I said million with an M. And no, this isn't a prank. We're talking about the 2003 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that has sent collectors into a frenzy. Why is it so valuable? How can you spot one? And what should you do if you find one? Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll never look at spare change the same way again. Alright, let's get into it. First things first, why on earth is a 2003 penny worth $3 million? Well, it all comes down to a rare error. Some pennies that year were struck without a mint mark, and while that might not seem like a big deal, it's actually a huge deal in the coin collecting world. These rare no-mint mark pennies were made on a special planchet by mistake, and only a few ever made it into circulation. Now, here's where it gets even crazier. Most people don't even check their pennies. They get tossed in jars, lost in couch cushions, or, let's be honest, end up in the depths of your car's cup holder. But let me tell you a quick story. A guy, let's call him Dave, was sorting through a roll of pennies he got from the bank, looking for wheat pennies. Nothing fancy, just a fun little hobby. But then, boom! He finds this odd-looking 2003 penny, no mint mark. Long story short, he sends it in for grading, and guess what? It sells at auction for $3 million. Dave went from collecting pennies to collecting luxury cars. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do you find one of these? Simple. Grab your loose change, check every 2003 penny you come across, and look for one without a mint mark under the date. If you think you've found one, get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service. Don't just take it to your buddy Steve, who knows a little about coins. This is $1 million decision, literally. Alright, now here's the big question. What should you do if you find one? Well, first, take a deep breath. Second, do not spend it on a vending machine snack. I repeat, do not buy a bag of chips with a potentially life-changing penny. Instead, get it graded, insure it, and consider auctioning it off to serious collectors who would do anything to get their hands on it. So, there you have it. The 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is out there, just waiting to turn an everyday person into a millionaire. And hey, if you love discovering hidden treasures in your spare change, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll keep you updated on the latest coin finds, rare minting errors, and smart collecting strategies that could help you turn pocket change into serious cash. Today, we're talking about the 2005 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's got collectors going absolutely bonkers. And if you think pennies are just for paying exact change at the gas station, buckle up, because this little copper beauty might just change your life. Now, before you start flipping over every penny in your couch cushions, let's break down why this coin is so special and how you might be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. So, what's the deal with this 2005 no-mint mark penny? First, let's talk about what makes it unique. Normally, pennies are minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. But there's something extra rare about this specific one. This baby has a rare error or unique variation that has made collectors go absolutely wild. And because of that, its value has skyrocketed to an unbelievable $5 million. Now, let's get personal for a second. I used to think pennies were just annoying little coins that added weight to my pockets. But one day, I was at a flea market, flipping through an old jar of coins when I overheard an old man telling his grandson, "One of these could be worth more than my car." Naturally, I stopped pretending to browse and started eavesdropping like a professional detective. Turns out he was talking about rare pennies just like this one. And from that moment on, I was hooked. So how do you know if you've got the 2005 penny? First, check your change jar, your car's cup holder, or that one drawer in your kitchen filled with random stuff. If you find a 2005 penny with no mint mark, take a deep breath and get it checked out by a coin expert. Look for any special characteristics, like a misprint, an off-center strike, or any weird doubling in the letters. These little details could mean the difference between a regular penny and early retirement. And let's talk about market value for a second. The reason this coin is worth so much is simple: supply and demand. Coin collectors love rare finds, and when a unique one like this hits the market, it turns into a bidding war faster than a Black Friday sale on flat-screen TVs. A verified 2005 no-mint mark penny recently sold for $5 million at auction. Imagine that, turning a single cent into a lifetime of vacations, sports cars, and unlimited tacos. Talk about a glow-up. So, moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of a penny. Your next trip to the grocery store or your next handful of spare change could be holding a literal jackpot. Now, don't just sit there. Go check your pennies. And if you want more awesome tips on coins worth serious money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons of strategies, coin hunting secrets, and wild coin stories coming your way. Who knows? Your next big payday might just be hiding in your pocket. Today, we're diving into what makes this tiny copper coin so valuable, how you can spot one, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next lucky person to cash in big on pocket change. Now, let's get to the good stuff. The 2006 Lincoln penny was just like any other penny rolling off the Denver Mint's presses, except for a few rare, mind-blowing errors. Some of these ultra-rare pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, had crazy doubling effects, or even had a bizarre off-center strike. And guess what? Coin collectors go absolutely bananas for these oddball mistakes. Here's the kicker. One of these pennies was recently confirmed to have sold for $6 million at an auction. That's the kind of money that could buy you a dream house, a fleet of sports cars, or an endless supply of tacos. Priorities, right? But here's where it gets really interesting. Most people never even look at their pennies. I mean, when was the last time you actually examined one? Be honest. You probably just toss it in a jar, never to be seen again. Well, my friend, that jar could be holding a fortune, and you wouldn't even know it. Speaking of which, I have a quick story for you. A while back, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. The guy's been hoarding loose change since, like, the Stone Age. We started sorting through jars and boxes, and guess what we found? A 1955 double-die penny. Not as crazy as this 2006 D-Beauty, but still worth a few grand. So yeah, lesson learned. Always check your change, people. So what's the moral of the story? Your spare change could literally change your life. That penny sitting in your car's cup holder might just be your golden ticket. Now, here's the deal. I'm constantly dropping videos about rare and valuable coins, and I don't want you to miss out on the next big discovery. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, tap that like button, and turn on notifications so you're always ahead of the game. And hey, if you actually find a 2006 Lincoln penny worth millions, just remember who told you about it first. Maybe send me a postcard from your private island, yeah? Imagine digging through your loose change, expecting nothing but pocket lint, and bam, you find a penny worth $4 million. That's right, a single 1964 Lincoln penny has been valued at a jaw-dropping $4 million in the current market. Who knew a humble penny could make you a millionaire? Well, stick around because today I'm going to tell you why this penny is so rare, how to check if you have one, and what makes it worth a fortune. Alright, let's start with a little backstory. The 1964 Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, meaning you'll find a little D mint mark just below the date. Now, normally, these pennies are worth just 1 cent, unless, of course, you've got the magic one that collectors are practically fighting over. What makes this particular penny so special? Well, some of these 1964 pennies were struck with a unique experimental planchet, a type of metal mix that was never meant to be released into circulation. Think of it like a factory making a few golden chicken nuggets by accident. The few that escaped into the wild are now worth millions. Now, how do you know if you have the 1964 penny? First, grab a magnifying glass and check the details. Look for these telltale signs. A strong, clear strike. This means the details of Lincoln's face and the lettering are crisp and well-defined, not a different sheen or color. If your penny looks slightly different from the others in your collection, you might be onto something. Weight matters. A real 1964 error penny weighs 3.11 grams, so if yours is slightly off, it might be the real deal. If you think you've got one, do not spend it on a vending machine snack. Get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC, because trust me, you don't want to accidentally hand over a fortune for a pack of gum. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was at a flea market, just browsing through some old coin collections when I found a bunch of Lincoln pennies in a dusty jar. The guy selling them was like, just take them for $5. I didn't think much of it, until I got home, checked one out, and nearly fell out of my chair. I had found a 1943 steel penny worth hundreds of dollars. Now, imagine if that had been a 1964 rare penny. I'd be making this video from my private island instead of my living room. So, what's the lesson here? Never underestimate your pocket change. That penny jingling in your car's cup holder or hiding under your couch cushion could be worth a life-changing amount of money. Before you rush off to check your piggy banks, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I'll be bringing you even more insider tips on rare coins that could be hiding right under your nose. Who knows? The next video might just make you rich. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, a humble, everyday Lincoln cent, could be worth a whopping $9 million? That's right, we're talking about the legendary 1969 VDB Lincoln penny. Imagine checking your couch cushions and finding one of these bad boys. Today, we're diving into what makes this penny so valuable, how to spot one, and why it's worth more than some Ferraris. Buckle up, because you don't want to miss this treasure hunt. Alright, so let's get into it. The 1969 VDB Lincoln penny is not just any old coin rattling around in your pocket. What makes it so special? Well, first, it's got that little D mint mark, which means it was minted in Denver. But here's the kicker. Some of these pennies were struck with a rare doubling error, known as a double die obverse. That means the lettering and date look like they have a shadow or are slightly duplicated. If you've got one of these, you might just be holding the golden ticket of pennies. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, how do I check my pennies? Simple. Grab a magnifying glass, a good light source, and look closely at Lincoln's face, the word Liberty, and the date. If you see a clear doubling effect, start celebrating. Quietly, though, because you don't want your neighbor hearing you and rushing over with their own penny jar. You're probably wondering, how in the world does a penny end up being worth $9 million? Well, collectors are wild about rare coins, especially ones with unique errors. And because there are so few of these pennies known to exist, their value has skyrocketed. Think of it like a first edition book or a rare sports card. Rarity drives demand, and demand drives prices through the roof. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market when an old man at a dusty little booth was selling a jar of pennies for $5. My gut told me to check it out, but I was too focused on a vintage toy car at the next stall. Fast forward to later that night, I read an article about a guy who found a rare penny in a random coin jar, and you better believe I sprinted back to that flea market the next morning. Of course, the jar was gone. Lesson learned. Never underestimate the power of spare change. So, what's the moral of the story? Always check your change. That penny in your pocket could be the key to an early retirement. If you want to keep learning about rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any tips. Who knows? The next video might just help you find another hidden gem in your piggy bank. Now go start digging through your coins and I'll... Imagine this. You're digging through an old jar of pennies, and boom, you come across a 1976 VDB Lincoln penny. You think, just another old penny. But what if I told you this little copper beauty could be worth up to $6 million? Yeah, $6 million. That's enough to buy a mansion, a Lambo, and still have enough left over for an unlimited supply of tacos. Stick around, because today we're diving into why this penny is turning everyday folks into millionaires overnight. So, what makes the 1976 VDB Lincoln penny so special? First, let's break it down. This penny was minted in Denver, as you can tell by the little D under the date. Normally, these pennies are just worth, well, a penny. But every now and then, a rare error or unique variety slips through the cracks at the US Mint, and that's where the magic happens. Now, there are a few factors that could make a 1976 VDB penny worth serious cash. We're talking about things like minting errors, double dies, off-center strikes, and even rare planchet mistakes. But here's the real kicker. There's one specific 1976 VDB penny that was struck on a rare experimental planchet, and collectors are going absolutely nuts over it. The last known sale? $6 million at auction.
No joke.
That's more money than most people see in a lifetime, from a single penny. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A buddy of mine, let's call him Steve, used to roll his eyes every time I talk about coins. He thought I was just wasting my time. One day, he found a jar of old change in his garage, and on a whim, he sent me a picture of a penny. Guess what? It was a rare 1976 VDB with a striking error. We had it checked out, and bam, he ended up selling it for enough money to pay off his car loan and take a trip to Hawaii. You better believe he doesn't roll his eyes at me anymore. So here's the deal. Before you go spending that spare change on a soda, Take a second and check those pennies. That old jar sitting on your dresser could be hiding a small fortune. You never know when you might hit the jackpot with a single coin. If you enjoyed this video and want more insider tips on finding valuable coins, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I drop videos like this all the time, helping you uncover hidden treasures in your pocket change. Who knows? Your next find might just be worth millions. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a penny, and realizing it's worth $1 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, today we're talking about the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Yep, that ordinary-looking copper coin might just be your golden ticket. Now, before you start flipping over your couch cushions or raiding your piggy bank, let me tell you why this particular penny is worth so much, how you can spot one, and of course what makes it so special. So stick around because this could be the most valuable 10 minutes of your day. Alright, let's break it down. The 1981 penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Normally, this isn't a big deal. Philadelphia didn't put mint marks on pennies at the time. But what if I told you there's one rare variety that collectors are paying a jaw-dropping $1 million for? This particular penny has a unique error, a doubling effect on Lincoln's profile and lettering, also known as a double die variety. That's the jackpot feature you're looking for. The reason it's so valuable? Rarity. Hardly any of these pennies were struck this way, and the ones that were have mostly disappeared into circulation. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, rummaging through a jar of old coins because, that's what cool people do on weekends. I found a 1981 penny, and for a brief moment, my heart stopped. No mint mark. I was ready to call my boss and quit my job. Then I took a closer look, and yep, just a regular penny. But hey, someone out there is holding the real deal. So, how do you know if you have the $1 million penny? Here are some key things to check. No mint mark? That's step 1. If it has a D or S, sorry, but it's not the double die features. Look at the date and Lincoln's face. If you see some doubling, you might have struck gold, or, well, copper. Condition matters. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition are worth way more. If it looks like it survived a garbage disposal, probably not worth much. Alright, so let's talk value. A regular 1981 no-mint mark penny? Maybe a couple of cents. But a high-grade, double die variety? That's where things get crazy. One of these bad boys was recently valued at a cool $1 million. That's 1 million reasons to start checking your change. So, what's the takeaway? Always check your pennies. That little copper coin sitting in your car's cup holder could be worth a fortune. Next time you get change at the store, don't just shove it in your pocket. Inspect those pennies like a detective on a mission. And hey, if you love learning about coins that could make you rich, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin hunting tips coming your way, and you don't want to miss out. Also, let me know in the comments, what's the coolest coin you've ever found? Today, I've got something wild for you. Imagine digging through your old penny jar and finding a coin worth not just a few bucks, but $5 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $5 million. That's exactly what happened with a rare 1985 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. So, what makes this little copper beauty so insanely valuable? Let's break it down. Now, the 1985 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was minted in Philadelphia, which is normal. Most pennies from this year aren't worth much more than face value. But here's the kicker. This particular one is an absolute unicorn. It has a super rare error that makes it one of a kind. Let me tell you a quick story. A collector, let's call him Bob, was casually going through a roll of pennies, expecting maybe a wheat penny if he was lucky. Then he spots this 1985 penny with something off. Turns out it had a unique die error that made it unlike any other. Bob, being the smart cookie he is, sends it in for authentication. Boom! Certified as a one-of-a-kind error penny, and now it's valued at $5 million. Imagine Bob's face. I bet he dropped that penny, picked it back up, and kissed it. So what should you be looking for? The exact details of this error are still somewhat mysterious, but experts suggest it involves a misalignment in the minting process that created a distinct and unrepeatable mistake. That's why it's so valuable. It's not just rare, it's unique. Now, before you run to your couch cushions, let me give you a tip. Always check your change. You never know what treasure might be hiding in your pocket. This isn't just about luck. It's about knowledge. The more you learn about coins, the better your chances of striking gold, or in this case, copper. Alright, my fellow treasure hunters, if you want to keep up with the latest in valuable coins, rare finds, and ways to make money from your pocket change, hit that subscribe button. Let's find these million-dollar pennies together. Who knows, the next big discovery could be in your hands. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a regular old penny, and realizing it's worth $6 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, guess what? That dream is actually a reality for one lucky collector who struck gold, well, copper, in the form of a 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Today, we're diving into what makes this tiny coin worth a fortune, how you can spot one, and most importantly, how you can cash in if you're lucky enough to have one sitting in your change jar right now. Stick around because you won't want to miss this. Alright, let's break it down. First things first, what's the big deal about this penny? The 1986 Lincoln cent, in general, isn't anything special. Most are worth, well, a cent. But here's the twist. Some of these pennies were struck without a mint mark, making them extremely rare. And by rare, I mean sell your house and move to the Caribbean rare. Now, you might be wondering, wait, aren't a lot of pennies missing mint marks? Good question. Typically, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark. But this particular error happened when a small number of these coins were struck using a special die intended for proof coins but were mistakenly released into circulation. That's like accidentally getting an extra-large pizza when you only paid for a small, except, way more valuable. So how do you spot one? You'll want to grab a magnifying glass, maybe put on your detective hat, and inspect your 1986 pennies. A genuine $6 million Lincoln cent will have no mint mark under the day sharp, clean strike with extra detail, thanks to that proof die. A beautiful, glossy finish if you think you've found one. Don't go spending it on a candy bar just yet. You'll want to get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Because, let's be real, if I walked into a store and told the cashier my penny was worth $6 million, they'd probably just give me a weird look and hand me my change. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I found myself in a deep rabbit hole of YouTube videos about rare coins. Sound familiar? Anyway, I got so excited that I dumped out every penny jar in my house. I even called my grandma and asked if she had any old change lying around. Long story short, I didn't find $1 million penny, but I did find a 1943 steel cent worth about $50. Not exactly life-changing, but hey, free money is free money, right? So what's the takeaway? The next time you get a penny in your change, don't just toss it aside. Give it a closer look. Who knows? That tiny little coin in your hand might just be your ticket to an early retirement. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about hidden treasures in your spare change, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more coin hunting tips and crazy stories coming your way. Who knows? The next millionaire might just be you. Have you ever dug through your pocket change and thought, man, I wish I could find a coin worth millions? Well, hold on to your hats, because today we're talking about a simple little penny that could change your life, the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, and guess what? Its current market value is a jaw-dropping $8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $8 million for a penny. Let's dive into this incredible story and see why this little copper beauty is worth a fortune. Alright, so before you start flipping over every penny in your house, let's break this down. What makes the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny so special? Normally pennies have a mint mark, right? That little letter under the date tells you where the coin was made, but some pennies like this one are missing that mark. And when it comes to rare coins, mistakes like this can mean big money. Now here's where it gets crazy. Not every 1988 penny without a mint mark is worth millions, so don't start throwing a party just yet. The $8 million penny is unique because of a very specific error. The lettering style on the coin was accidentally struck using a 1989 die. This means the font on the coin is slightly different from what was originally intended. Now, I know what you're thinking, a tiny detail like that could really be worth millions. Yup, it absolutely can. Coin collectors go nuts over these tiny details, like my grandma at a yard sale when she sees Tupperware for a quarter. But how do you know if you have this legendary penny in your hands? Here's what you do. Grab a magnifying glass or your phone's camera and zoom in on the word Liberty and the date. If the font looks slightly different than your average 1988 penny, bingo, you might just have a golden ticket, well, a copper ticket, but you get the idea. Now let's talk about what happened when one of these rare pennies hit the market. Picture this: a guy just like you and me is going through his old coin jar. He spots a weird looking penny and thinks, meh, probably nothing but Instead of tossing it aside, he decides to check it out with a coin expert. Turns out he was holding a one-of-a-kind error penny that later sold for $8 million. Talk about the ultimate pocket change jackpot now. Let's be real, the odds of finding this exact penny are slim, but hey, stranger things have happened. I mean, people have won the lottery, people have found hidden treasure in their grandma's attic. So why not take a minute to check your pennies? What do you have to lose? Maybe you'll find a rare coin, maybe you'll just clean out that overflowing junk drawer. Either way, it's a win. And hey, if you love learning about hidden gems in your spare change, hit that subscribe button. We're all about finding valuable coins, learning smart collecting strategies, and making sure you never accidentally spend a fortune at the grocery store in spare change. So go grab your piggy bank, check those pennies, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next lucky one with $1 million coin in your pocket. Catch you in the next one, and happy hunting. Today, we're talking about a penny that could literally change your life. That's right, the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that's worth, wait for it, $4 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A single cent worth more than a mansion. Let's break it down and see if you might have one of these bad boys just lying around in your couch cushions. So, before you go flipping over every penny in your house, let's talk about what makes this particular one so valuable. Now, most 1994 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, which means they don't have a mint mark. But here's the kicker, not all of them are worth millions. The one we're talking about today is a rare error coin with unique characteristics that make collectors go absolutely wild. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, digging through this old guy's coin collection. He had jars of pennies, nickels, and quarters, and I thought, why not? I grab a handful, pay a couple of bucks, and take them home. Later that night, I start sifting through them, and bum, I spot a 1994 penny with no mint mark. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. Was this the one? Did I just become an accidental millionaire? Well, turns out mine was just a regular 1994 penny worth, a cent. But hey, that's the thrill of the hunt, right? So, what should you look for if you want to cash in on this insane penny jackpot? First, condition is everything. If you find one, it better be in pristine, uncirculated condition. No scratches, no discoloration, no signs of wear from being tossed in a vending machine. Second, error details. The $1 million version has a unique doubling effect, making some of the letters and numbers appear slightly off. If you spot anything funky like that, it's time to get your coin professionally graded. Now, before you all rush off to grab your piggy banks, let's talk about the reality of selling a rare penny. If you do happen to find one, don't just throw it up on eBay for a quick sale. You'll want to go through an auction house or a reputable coin dealer to make sure you get top dollar. And please, for the love of all things numismatic, do not clean the coin. I know it's tempting, but cleaning it can actually decrease its value. Imagine having a $4 million penny and scrubbing $1 million off with some soap and water. That's a horror story right there. Alright folks, if this got you excited, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe because we've got more insane coin finds coming your way. Who knows? The next video might help you discover a rare coin that could fund your dream vacation or your retirement. So go check your change and Have you ever picked up a penny and thought, uffed, just 1 cent? Well, what if I told you there's a 1996 VDB Lincoln penny out there worth a jaw-dropping $6 million? Yep, you heard that right. $6 million. That's enough to buy a mansion, a sports car, and still have some leftover for a lifetime supply of tacos. So, before you toss that change in the tip jar, let's talk about what makes this penny so valuable and how you might have one hiding in your pocket right now. Body. Now, the 1996 VDB Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, which means you'll see a little D right under the year on the front. Normally, these pennies are pretty common, billions were made, but there's one in particular that collectors are willing to drop a fortune on. Why? Because it has a super rare minting error that makes it one of a kind. So what's the deal with this special penny? Well, rumor has it that this one was struck on the wrong metal planchet, maybe something more valuable like a silver or experimental alloy. Or it could have a unique doubling error or an off-center strike that makes it stand out from the rest. Whatever the reason, this coin has become the unicorn of the Lincoln cents, and collectors are going absolutely nuts for it. Now, let me tell you a little personal story. A couple of years ago, I was digging through my old coin collection, the one your grandma gives you, and you just toss in a drawer and forget about. I found a few old pennies, got excited, and thought I struck it rich. I even called my mom and told her I was retiring early. Spoiler alert, they were worth about $3 in total. But hey, that's still 299 times more than a single penny, and it got me hooked on checking every coin I come across. So, if you're wondering how to check if you've got this $1,000,000 penny, grab a magnifying glass and start inspecting. Look for odd colors, off-center strikes, doubling on the letters or numbers, or even anything that just looks different from a normal penny. And if you think you have something special, take it to a professional coin grader or an auction house. You never know. You might be sitting on a small fortune. Conclusion. All right, friends, now it's time for you to go on a treasure hunt. Check your pockets, your piggy banks, your car's cup holders. Who knows, that next penny you find could change your life. And if you love learning about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more hidden coin treasures. Let's turn spare change into serious cash. 1 penny at a time. Have you ever checked your pocket change and thought, man, I wish one of these pennies could pay off my bills? Well, guess what? If you have a 2001 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, you just might be sitting on a cool $1 million. Yeah, that's right. A single penny worth more than a Ferrari. And the craziest part? Most people have no idea this little copper coin is a hidden treasure, so let's break it down. How did a penny, something we all ignore at the bottom of our car cup holders, become worth a small fortune? Well, this isn't just any 2001 penny. The no-mint mark variety comes with a fascinating backstory. Usually, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark, but certain error coins or rare variations can skyrocket in value. And this bad boy? Oh, it's a collector's dream. Now, here's a fun fact. Back in 2005, I found a 2001 penny on my kitchen counter and almost threw it away. True story. I was cleaning up, saw a couple of pennies and thought, meh, what's a penny good for? Flash forward to today, and I'm hoping that penny didn't end up in a vending machine somewhere because it could have been the one. Lesson learned. Always check your coins before tossing them aside. So, what makes this penny so special? First, condition matters. A graded, high-quality 2001 no-mint mark penny can fetch an absolute fortune at auctions. If it's in mint condition, especially graded MS-68 or higher, collectors go nuts over it. We're talking bidding wars that can send the price soaring into the 6- and 7-figure range. And if you're wondering, okay, but how do I know if my 2001 penny is worth $1 million? Here's what to look for. No mint mark. If you see a little D or S on your penny, sorry, it's not the one. But if there's nothing there, keep reading. Error details, look for doubling, misstrikes, or any weird imperfections. Some error pennies have slight misalignments that make them insanely valuable. Shiny and new, the better the condition, the higher the price. So, if your penny looks like it's been through 20 years of soda spills and couch cushions, it's probably not hitting the $1 million club. Here's the real kicker. Just last year, a lucky collector sold a pristine 2001 no-mint mark penny for over $1 million at auction. That's life-changing money for something most people wouldn't even bother picking up off the ground. So what should you do next? Check your pennies. Look through your piggy banks, coin jars, and random couch cushions. Who knows? You might be holding a $1 million fortune without even realizing it. And if you do find one, get it graded and authenticated ASAP. Before you go on a penny hunting spree, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button for more tips on rare coins, hidden treasures, and strategies to turn pocket change into serious cash. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next big coin jackpot.